Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. On the release of my last video, it caused so many questions to come in, I had to present another video because what I essentially said is that common law is another word for slave trading. This is the mechanism that they are using to use you as slaves. The documents that you're about to see are all on my website, but I'm going to give you more detailed knowledge and understanding of how that works. And it is all first-hand knowledge, okay? These documents are not prepared by me, but they are found on my website, and they're found on the UN library systems, and they're found by you doing some searches on Google. So some of these documents and some of the claims that I'm making are considered to be, in the general public's eye, an esotericism, something mystical. No, ladies and gentlemen, I want to make it clear again. The people that you worship are nothing more than men and women with bank accounts. And I'm revealing more and more of the technologies or bureaucratic technologies that they use to entrap you. Okay, so enjoy the presentation and let's go straight to it. As I said, on the backdrop of this particular video that you're looking at, which is called Punies Are Back, Plaintive Death Pledges Hidden in Plain Sight, as it were. And from that, the questions that I had is, Mark, are you saying that in common law is what enslaves people? And the answer is yes. And I'm going to go through it. So when I released this video, the people are so shocked, and quite naturally, because these are shocking elements to the puny service. And I also explained in detail what the puny service is. And my guess is the reason why the general public find it so shocking is because this type of court systems where they wear the black do so much publicity around them, getting the general public to believe that they're the only court systems on this planet. It is like one particular brand of a company dominating the entire market, that you actually don't believe that there are any other products out there that are similar. It's like Coca-Cola having its brand name on everything. And yes, it does. And unfortunately, Coca-Cola does own so much of the beverage market, but it might be in the form of Fanta and the various other names that they go under. Now, I'm giving you a detailed explanation and as much analogy as I possibly can to prove to you, and this is going to be the third and final video that I will produce on the puny services, and I will give you 100% evidence and proof that the conventional courts that you understand as being all-powerful are the lowest ranking things that have little or no power, except the power that they have got into your brain in believing, in getting you to believe that this is the only beverage on the market, that this is the only solution on the market. No, no, no. So let's explore again just some of the things that I pointed out on my last two videos. I pointed out that common law is a system created by the judicial service who are actors for their slave masters. You know that you are a slave because you have the ratio of a slave. What does that mean? You get to keep 20% or less of everything that you make. Hence, it's called earnings, as in something that you die for, like you go into an urn. The language is very supportive of what I am saying. So the common law was created by the judicial system for their slave masters, and they themselves are actors. The judges themselves are actors, and they come under a system known as puny judges, puny courts, puny mortgages, punitive damages, which all means puny, small in character. And I pointed out the Supreme Court, even the Supreme Courts in certain countries, even openly say that they are puny. And I'll come on to it in more and more detail. Now, the reference that you guys need to make is on Wikipedia, it will say puny judge, okay? And I went through this page on my last video, but I'm going to point out to you what this other particular word is saying to you. Puny essentially is a meaning a weak or inferior in size. When you have a puny judge, and listen very carefully, ladies and gentlemen, when you have a puny judge, it means that they lack fiduciary capacity. Fiduciary capacity. That means they can never be in a trust position when they're called out. That is why they use tricks and traps to get you to contract with them so they can handle, as it were, your disputes or even your celebrations in life. So if you have not understood that twist, let me say it to you again. The puny service is a service that is incapable of holding any fiduciary position. In other words, they lack fiduciary capacity, and that's the correct word, fiduciary capacity. And to recap, because they know this is why the tricks and traps that they perform, the pathological lying, pretending that they have foreign immunity or judicial immunity, they hide within these word games. Now, here on Wikipedia, right before your eyes, what it's saying to you, even though it's in poetry, what it's saying to you is that the judiciary find this, the puny service find this, rather a cumbersome word to deal with by connotation because of what it means. So what they do is that they say to you, well, we don't particularly like this particular word, so what we're going to do is that we're going to revenue it. In other words, if it's a spade, don't call us by our proper name, which is that we're a spade or a puny service. Call us by any other name. You may call us a fork. You might call us a pruning scissors. You might call us a bulldozer. You can call us anything except what we really are, which is puny. Now, they come up with all of these wonderful words, okay? And what does it say here? Spoken form holds a negative connotation. Well, if a spade is a spade and a thief is a thief and a puny is a puny, what other names can you use? You don't need to. The connotation speaks for itself. The word itself speaks for itself. That is true, is it not? That's factual, is it not? But when you revenue a word, they think they can hide in it. Revisiting this, what they want to do is say outside of what the word and what their jurisdiction really means, and therefore start to revenue themselves with colourful terms like this. Now, this is the word that they've used to hide under now. And just listen to it. I'm going to play it 3 times so you understand puny is exactly the same as them trying to revenue themselves with this particular word.
Bowdlerize. Bowdlerize. Bowdlerize.
I've played that 3 times. And what that simply means is that they remove any accountability for their own jurisdiction and try to revenue it. That's like somebody stealing your car and putting a different number plate on it and claiming that it's not your car. The VIN number, that is the identification, that's the birth certificate of the car itself, will identify what it is, just as the word puny does. So, because the judges are actors, what they're essentially doing is this, and listen to it 3 times.
Expurgate. expurgate, expurgate,
So they excrete, and I can't pronounce it properly, that's why I'm playing it for you, is that they want the general public to say that because they're actors on stage, that they find this particular type of acting a little bit uncomfortable. So as a result, we're going to remove that word and hide under some other word. And these words, ladies and gentlemen, should be staring you in the face. It should move you to realize there's so much evidence to say that the judicial system, which you think is the foundation of your governments, are not. They are of the lowest stature. They are of the lowest mindset. They have the least amount of power because they are actors. And that's Black's Law Dictionary that you're looking at. This type of verbose language, this useless amount of garbage words that they use to try to disguise themselves, is highly beneficial for them because they can just make ruling after ruling just on the back of a verse. And listen to the word and let it resonate. And I'm going to play it for you 3 times.
verbose, verbose, verbose,
So you understand that liars lie because they know the truth. And quite often they will hide their words in complete silence, called judicial immunity, or they'll try to talk themselves out, which is like the elaborations of a bad liar. The ones that elaborate and elaborate and re-elaborate and pretend that they can talk their way through. No, the world of the narcissists, the psychopaths, and the sycophants have come to an end. These conditions cannot exist in our world anymore, ladies and gentlemen. They can't possibly say anything about the human nature or how we conduct ourselves because they have named and shamed themselves beyond any recognition. Now, I did say to you that I will provide you with some evidence of what I'm talking about, and this is it, okay? This particular document, ladies and gentlemen, that you're looking at, they're real documents, and they're not like from the 15th century or 100 years ago. The date is on there. That's 2012, okay? And this document is a document trying to stop the so we say, the slave trading of the Squamish nation, where they are said to be lost and dead at sea, and they're being essentially salvaged. They're living on land, but because they don't understand the mechanisms of it, people get stuck. And the common law jurisdiction, ladies and gentlemen, is what enables slave trading to take place. Now, I'm going to zoom in, okay, slowly, so you can see these documents, and they're all on my website. Okay, and you can see what they are doing here. They're saying quite literally it's a de facto corporate government trying to harvest people in the British Columbia. And they're openly telling you it is church lands of captured, baptized souls lost at sea. They are telling you, look at the words, ladies and gentlemen. Look at the words. These are living human beings that they're talking about. Church lands, banks of captured, baptized souls lost at sea. That's not me making it up. This is Pope Benedict doing business as, that's what DBA means, as Joseph Ratzinger, the so-called white pope, and of course the Khazarian, I call them Khazarian warlords, Count Hens blah blah blah, doing business as blah blah blah. Ladies and gentlemen, private bonds, permanent name debtors and forfeiters, forfeit of public and private bonds, aka preferred and common stock, chosen goim, aka tax slaves. This document, ladies and gentlemen, is on my website, and these are genuine documents. Now, there's a lot of history behind these documents, which I don't wish to go into detail at this moment. But look, it's in common law saying that which is mine cannot be taken away. Turtle Island, if only you knew what Turtle Island meant, okay? But we'll come on to those things at a later stage. And I'm showing you these documents because the power base of these subspecies is that they are making mockery of you and making trillions of dollars on the back of your own sweat equity, of your commercial and spiritual energy. Now, these people also know about the technology of the postage stamp, okay? This is them trying to make contract, okay? They are making contract, but of course the language is undefined and therefore it's written in poetry. And wherever these languages are written in poetry, it doesn't come with a dictionary of its own or a thesaurus, you are lost. And common law is the mechanisms of that entrapment, okay? Go to my website and just look it up. It's there right before your eyes, okay? And this is not me speaking. Goim, I'm not even going to tell you what a goim means. Tax slaves. That's like me saying to you that you owe me 80% of everything that you make. And because they haven't used the word direct slave, and you hand over 80% of your money, as it were, of your spiritual energy, of your children, of your health, of your language, of your legacy, of your heritage. What other logical conclusion can you come to other than that you are a direct slave in every realm that you can think of until you decide to make a decision? When you make a decision, ladies and gentlemen, that's when these people start coming crashing down. Let me show you another document. This is the document on the back of the Committee of 300. These are known as your gods. These are the gods that general public worship. Now, you can look at the whole document, but I'm going to point to you. This is a live life claim, albeit a conventional certificate of live birth, whereas you guys have what is known as a birth certificate, which is a mechanism of trading, detailing your ability to trade in commerce if you knew how the mechanism worked, but you don't have access to a certificate of live birth. And let me just blow it up for you, just in case you don't recognize any of these names. Okay? And this is not like from 100 years ago. This is 2007. The importance is that once you understand the bureaucratic mechanisms, the paperwork, as it were, you start to realize, wow, Mark is showing us 100% proof that we are slaves and that we are being bought and sold as slaves. And not only that, the judiciary, to run the puny services, and they're called puny services, a puny mortgage, under a puny judge, under a puny administrative process, using tricks and traps to contract with you, are treating you verbally, spiritually, physically, and beating you as a slave. That's intolerable. In this corona period, that is intolerable. And that's called zero tolerance. So, punitive damages. What do they award you? Punitive damages, small damages for small minds. This document I've already showed you, and it was sent to me by one of my students, and thank you very much for that. And it details how much money they make, and that the Federal Reserve Bank is a private bank, and they're bringing you in as private stock. The words for it are there and then. The continuation of the evidence is phenomenal. An actor, a slave who tended to transact or supersede, superintend, oversee the slave master's wishes. You've seen that in Ben-Hur, when Ben-Hur brings his slave, and the slave is so very grateful, and of course the master is so very grateful. The actors on stage that are not on stage are also in the courtrooms, ladies and gentlemen. That's why they are puny in nature. I really suggest that you just simply read up on Wikipedia puny judges, because once you press this button, you're going to understand that it's all Shakespearean. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's Shakespearean theatre show. And that's directly off the website, not mine. It's directly off there. So, it is time for you to wake up. You see this front? That's a maritime front. That every single stroke on that front is a symbol of a ship, which I'll come on to later on, or I might do a whole presentation on it at a later stage. And just to remind you, the tricks that they are being used all around you, and I'm scrolling through. This is the telegraph. Recognize the front, ladies and gentlemen. That is how these people openly communicate to themselves using these newspapers. See the front? That's the sail, that's the moon, that's a crescent moon. That's also the symbol for the satin crest, okay, which is very similar to Nike. I will go through these things at a later stage because this is a presentation on its own. Now, if you scroll through, you will see that some of these, like New York Times, like the New York Times, is essentially a maritime front. They are openly speaking in code. Now, I know this code inside out. I'm able to cipher it, as it were. And I might do a presentation on it, or I might teach my students on this subject. And this is the Telegraph, of course. Yeah. And this particular article was when this Telegraph newspaper did a character assassination attack on me, I don't know, a few years back. But they did that to publicize to all of their groups that there is a new postmaster, federal judge, plenipotentiary judge arrived on this planet. That's what they're doing. But the general public don't know. But the judiciary, and there are some down where I live, they don't look me in the face anymore because they're not allowed to. Why? It's very simple. It's because they can never make contact with a fact, because they know who and what they are, which is in puny nature, and they have to drop their eyes down and bow and walk in a subservient manner when I'm walking past them, because they are puny. And I am a chief federal postal court judge globally. So, ladies and gentlemen, I have done this presentation for you so you can keep yourself safe. And I have provided not just 100% proof, but multiples of hundreds of percent proof, all through research detailed on this presentation. So you can be empowered and you can feel strong and realize that you have to now make a decision. Because in this brand new era of the Corona period, you have to make the decision. I'll leave you with this thought. This thought came on the back of an exercise that I do to improve my eyesight. And on that chart, one of the charts I had to read was that human beings very rarely can make the right decision. But a decision is what you need to make. And once you make a decision, you don't know whether it is right or wrong. So you make a decision and you make that decision right. Once you've understood this, your ability to make a decision will be much, much more stronger. Thank you very much for listening to me, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time, have a wonderful life, and I'll see you guys very soon.